Hello, I'm Irina Baker, a spiritual awareness mentor, and this is part two of Harry Potter, How to Turn a Rich Idea into Wealth. Last time we have authenticated the idea, and today is about 9 steps to turning your rich idea into tangible wealth. So let me remind what I've explained to you in part one. So, first of all, how do we decide that the idea is from the divine? First principle, it slips in quietly. The second one, a rich idea is usually soft spoken and gentle. It is persistent, and your idea is uniquely designed by the divine for you. So you definitely have a talent to accomplish that idea. So that means you have an aptitude, you have an ability to be able to see it through. And number five, it makes you excited, alive, enthusiastic because it is according to your talent, abilities, aptitude. So it is right up your alley. And so these are the steps how to authenticate your rich idea. And now let's talk about the steps on how to actually make it happen. So the first step is make your choice wisely. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you think about this idea, and the idea is usually, like I said before, it could be crazy or sound crazy and without a merit and unachievable, but it is a divine idea. It is a rich idea that you received. So you are to make a choice. Do you want to ignore this idea because you are scared? You don't want to take risks? Because it's more comfortable for you to sit and be where you are right now and not to do anything because it's safer, or you want to really plunge into the new level of your development, because the idea usually comes because you need to grow. This is a soul growth, and while you are fulfilling or making this idea happen, you growing on a soul level. And so many people unfortunately choose make the wrong choice. But we can't say wrong or right though, because who we are to judge, right? So we just will say they make the choice to stay where they are, to stay safe, and not to pay attention to their ideas. And some people do it throughout whole life, and when they look back, they start regretting that they didn't take those risks. But some people take the idea and run with it and create results. And so that's your choice, because you have a free will. And even though God or divine or the universe gave you this idea, it doesn't mean you have to implement it. And also, the divine gives you the idea. The ego is your earthly personality, has to be an executive, the executive. So executive power means we are implementing it here on earth, taking steps, actual actions. The second one, I already started mentioning it in part one, and then I remembered that I would talk about it in part two. So I promised I would get to that. Number two, keep your idea a secret. Why do I say that? Because every idea has energy behind it. And that energy, if it's premature, it's still new, you don't want to break that or disperse that energy. And I have an example that I started talking about in the previous video, that I had a client who had a business idea to start a business, and she made a mistake, to grave mistake actually, because she asked her friends, several people, their opinion or advice. Should she do it or she shouldn't do it? Well, these people told her no, she shouldn't do it. So she stayed for many years at the miserable job, or she was not satisfied with her life because she wasn't fulfilling what she was supposed to do. And so later on, when we started working together, I asked her, I said, and those people you had asked the opinion and advice on should you start the business or not, were they accomplished entrepreneurs? Did they know business very well? Did they have some kind of big accomplishments that they're so savvy and you can ask a business advice? And the answer to all these questions was no. These people had jobs, regular jobs. They didn't have any particular achievements in a world of to better humanity. So they had no right, or they were not competent to give her advice on such an important personal matter. And they felt that they had the right, obviously, they gave this advice, and it turned ill advice. Because right now, when she confirmed that that was a rich idea, she started her business, and this business is growing. And it started growing from the very first time, first moment she opened it. So, but the delay, because she asked, and then I'm sure because of other circumstances, but it was many years before she started thinking about the idea and actually implemented it. So that's why keep your ideas secret. The only acceptable way to announce your idea with full power and right is when you are with like-minded people, people who are in your community of doing the same thing, doing similar things, like entrepreneur gathering where everybody thinks alike and people are striving to go farther and further in their soul development or spiritual or business development. And those people who will support, who will encourage you to do it, that's another story. And they have to be all thinking in unison, in harmony with each other, because then the idea is not being dissipated. So that's a very important step. Number 3, even more important, do not rush your idea. Let's say you received an idea to open some kind of business or to do something, and of course, the first thing you want to do is to start taking steps to do it, to accomplish it. But the best way to do it is, the spiritual way to do it is first to stay a little bit behind and stay a little bit in the background, so to speak. Just imagine a mother or a future mother, woman, when she gets pregnant, she gets a seed inside her body that will develop with time with the baby. So once she gets pregnant, the very first moment she gets pregnant doesn't mean that the baby will come out the next day, right? I'm thinking maybe that would be a good idea. I don't know. But it has to be a period that the seed has to germinate and grow and develop into fetus. And when the fetus is completely grown to the stage when it becomes a baby that ready to get out, then it happens. So it's the same process in the creation, because we have to let that idea, because that's just a seed, we have to let that idea germinate and grow and mature and be strong, because if we do it prematurely, it will not have enough energetic strength, and it will die, it will not survive. So it's with anything. When you build a house, you first you spend time with blueprints. If you write a book, you spend a lot of time thinking there, nourishing the idea, nurturing the idea of the book, and then you start writing it. So the same principle, do not rush your idea. Number 4, ask divine guidance and wait for the answer. Ask divine guidance and wait for the answer. A lot of people believe that physical actions are the main thing that they have to do. A lot of mentors say that, oh, you have to take physical actions. I agree with them, but I want to reverse the process. First, you do mental preparation, meaning spiritual preparation, not even mental, spiritual preparation first. And then you do the physical steps, you take physical actions when you got the clear get going with the divine. So divine will tell you when to do it. It has to be divine timing. So that's why number 5 is ask divine to for a sign to act. I do that with my life a lot because I don't want to just rush around because of my scared ego doing things that I'm going to regret about. I want to be in the flow of life. And when you are in the flow of life, you have to follow the divine timing. And divine will always let you know when it's time to act. And that's what you do with your rich idea because you do not want to compromise that idea. Number 6, take divinely inspired action. Take divinely inspired action. So the action doesn't come from the very first. You don't run around. I want to repeat, you don't run around and trying to start building everything. You take divinely inspired action as number 6. Only at the end we have 9 altogether, 9 steps. And they are not just actions because your ego comes up with some actions. They are divinely inspired. So you know you are moving in the right direction at the right time, at the right pace, and you are supported. So everything will be in the flow, not hard and difficult. Persevere and never give up. Of course. Why is that important? Because for sure it will be a process. We always look at somebody who has achieved something, and it always looks that it's an overnight success. Suddenly they became successful. All we know is there was a book, and suddenly the book is hugely successful, and that's it. And that person is famous and has money. And a lot of people start envying to that person. But if they would think about the process behind the work, usually it takes 20 years. Like somebody said, one star, that famous star said, well, my overnight success took me 10 years. So 10 years overnight success. And a lot of times it's even longer because that's a process we have to go through in order for soul growth to take place. So this is not because, oh, God gives us obstacles to go to our goal. Not at all. We take the idea and we make it happen. And while we're doing it, we're learning and spiritually growing. And that's the main thing there is. So we are moving closer to the light during the process. And in order to be worthy of the abundance or wealth that will come as a rich reward for your idea, for the actions you've taken, it takes time to prepare for it. So that's why never give up, continue going, and have faith. Because a lot of times, when going gets tough, we lose faith, we want to give up, but we shouldn't. And it's only we say there is a saying that you can have faith no bigger than the smallest of the seeds, the mustard seed, and that's enough to take these things through, to see them through. And I had a question when I was preparing for this video. I had a question, are mustard seeds really the smallest? And so I looked it up online and I saw an article that was called, Was Jesus Wrong? Is the mustard seed really smallest? And his name is Hank Hanegraaff. I hope I pronounced it right, might not. So I'm sorry about that. And so he quotes that the orchid seeds are smaller than the mustard seeds. I say, who cares? Why? Because we don't care that Jesus, did he need to have an excellent knowledge of herbology, botany, or whatever whatever knowledge is required to decide what are the smallest seeds. He just made the point, the smallest seed, or you need as small as mustard seed, little faith, in order to accomplish big things. So I don't really care what's the smallest, what's the biggest, as long as the spiritual principle is helping you in your life. Have a little faith and you will go far, far, far. Okay, and the last step is the ninth step, and it's on one side, it's the difficult one, but on the other side, it's the rewarding one, because that's the appearance of wealth. And we can, again, look at the example of Harry Potter, that Harry Potter sequence and everything came in avalanche. So the money came to J.K. Rowling in avalanche. And I remember she was talking to somebody, or reporter was interviewing her, and she said that there was time when she was writing, she didn't even have milk and bread to feed her two daughters. I hope I'm not mistaken, but I think she has two kids. So, and I'm sorry if I'm mistaken, but something like that. I don't know where I heard it, but she didn't have the money. She didn't have money for milk for her children. And suddenly she is one of the richest women in the world. And how does it happen? First of all, it's a process. Wealth, when it comes fast, it's very difficult. It wouldn't be a blessing at all, but that's not, I can't talk about it for a long time here. So when you are in the process of working on that idea and make it happen, usually your soul is growing and you get ready to handle this amount of responsibility, this great wealth. And so in this case, it's a blessing because you are prepared to handle it. It didn't come to you overnight. You worked for it and it's rightfully yours. And so it might not be such a vast wealth that J.K. Rowling achieved or received, but it could be a comfortable, consistent income. It could be comfortable material level that you could achieve with your rich idea. And to me, that's worth exploring your rich idea, because it won't only give you just the wealth, but it will give you satisfaction as well. Rich idea will give you satisfaction. And so I want to ask you now, do you have money stress or money fears? Do you feel that you never have enough money to go around? Not with, or maybe you still are working on your rich idea or waiting for it to arrive. So how about you receive my gift to you, Radiant Mastery Blueprint. And the subtitle is Wealth and Satisfaction the Easy Way. Wealth means the material, money, and satisfaction means the soul fulfillment, soul happiness, that you are doing the right thing at the right time. You're fulfilling your rich idea. So if you're interested to receive this blueprint of the steps you have to take to be able to let go of money stress and money fears, to let go of never enough feeling, receive financial or achieve financial freedom, and maybe fulfill, or maybe during your fulfillment of your, or making your rich idea to really happen. So go to radiantmastery.com, click on the banner, and you will be able to register, and it will come to you in the mail, in the email, radiantmastery.com. And as you look at this article as well beneath the video, please make your positive comments, aha moments, and maybe results about your rich ideas, something that you are willing to share. And if you don't have anything good to say, please keep your peace. And that's the spiritual principle that we all should follow. And now, until we meet again, have a wonderful day. Goodbye.